Today, on Be Something Wonderful, what self-concept and everybody is you pushed out really means. I am your host, Tom Karen, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, welcome back. I had a great session with a client yesterday, and this is what she asked. She said, Tom, I get it. I get this idea that you create your own reality. And then I've heard this idea that everybody is you pushed out. But when I look around, what about all the awful things that happen? What about people that are victims of crime? What about all of this stuff that doesn't seem to quite fit into these ideas? So I was wondering if you could talk about that. Well, guys, we're going to talk about these ideas today and more. Here's what I really want to say. And this has been said since the beginning of time. If you guys have been around a while, you know that I talk about the same ideas in a different way, but you create your own reality, all of it. But when we say that, this isn't coming from a place of blaming or fault finding or creating guilt, right? If you've been a victim of something, of abuse or a crime or something. It has nothing to do with that, the saying that you're responsible for that abuse or you're responsible for that crime that was done to you. That's not what we're talking about. It's not about any of these things, right? It's about realizing, hear this, because this is big and this changes everything. This moves you to be the conscious creator of your reality, no matter what's going on in your life or no matter what's gone on in your life. It's about realizing your connection to everything and everyone else. Hear this. That's what we're talking about. That's what we mean by you create your own reality. All of it. It's about realizing your connection as energy, as an individualized aspect of that one, of God, of that love. Your connection to everything and everyone else. That's what everybody is you pushed out means. Neville Goddard made the term EIYPO popular, the acronym. But that's been around since before time began. That we're all energy and that we're all connected. We're all entangled, right? So and here's what I want to say. It does not mean that you are other people. Do you hear this? You're not other people, and they are not you. You are your own individualized aspect of God. You are connected, though, and entangled with them. Because something in the energy of who you are, your identity or the concept of yourself, wow, this is big, resonates and shares a reality with the energy of who they are, their identity, their self-concept. Do you hear this? This is big, right? This is this idea of you create your own reality, that everybody is you pushed out. You're not other people. What is the connection then? You are connected and entangled with them because something in your energy of who you are and the energy of who you define yourself to be, your identity, your concept, resonates and shares a reality with the energy of who they believe they are. Their identity, their self-concept. That's big. Let's take this a little bit more. It's all you. And taking ownership of your reality as a creator. So no matter what you've been through, it's about taking ownership. It doesn't mean blaming. It doesn't mean being guilty of anything. It's none of that. It's none of that. It's realizing and embracing your energetic connection to everyone and everything else in your life experience. Do you get this? To every event, every person, every circumstance. It's just realizing, embracing your energetic connection to everyone and everything else in your life experience. When you do, when you take that ownership, then you are able to create the life of your dreams. Able to create that. Why? Because it's all the connections that you have are all based on who you believe yourself to be. Remember, when you identify something, as somebody, that brings up the polarity of good and bad, right and wrong, all that stuff, right? High and low. That you now are an individualized aspect of God in this world of duality. So when you realize this, this moves your attention and focus within to your identity, to the concept of yourself, versus being fixated on the 3D reality that you believe you need to change to feel better within. Do you hear that? All of our struggle, all of the pain comes from believing, fixated on 3D reality, fixated on what's happening to us, versus knowing that we are the happening. Right? If you fixate on 3D reality, but you believe you need to change or feel better to feel better within, right? Instead, and then you're taking action. Hear this. So you believe you've got to. So instead of moving your focus within to your concept of yourself, that will change how you feel. You're looking at fixing and banging around the effects, moving around the effects of 3D. That you believe if you change that, you'll feel better within. Do you see what's going on? You're taking action to change the old 3D reality comes from an identity or self-concept of feeling separate from it. This idea of trying to change or move around the old reality, no matter what processes you're doing, it comes from a self-concept that you're separate from it. Otherwise, you wouldn't be trying to change it from the outside. Right? And it keeps the old reality in place because your old identity is tangled up in it. That's the paradox. You are reality. You are source. So you're all tangled up in the thing you want to change. You are entangled in your own reality that you're trying to change. This is big. Let's take it a step further. This doesn't mean don't take action if you feel you're being abused or treated unfairly. I really want to hit this because one of you in our sessions asked this. It was such a great question. Where you were being abused, right? Or this is what was going on. This was the evidence in the 3D reality. So it doesn't mean don't take action if you feel you're being abused or treated unfairly. While in the duality of 3D, you're responsible for your choices and actions. But this is big, and this is the key. Make those decisions, take those actions from the knowing and the viewpoint of your oneness and higher self, your divinity, your divine connection with everything and everyone else. Do you hear the difference? Right? Certainly set boundaries, right? If you feel that you're getting abused or getting taken advantage of, if this is what your feeling is, right? But take it from a standpoint of your higher self, that you're not separate, that you're divine. And the paradox is that abuse or that taking advantage feeling disappears. The reality of it disappears. Do you see this? Say no. Set boundaries. Separate yourself from situations that don't serve you. No one's saying stay in things that don't serve you. No way. But don't make those decisions from lack, from feeling powerless, from feeling separation. Instead, make them from the knowing, in the viewpoint of your oneness, your divinity, that one identity, the only identity that counts. Otherwise, you're making it from an identity that, well, I'm a victim and I'm getting abused. That becomes your identity, and you're making a decision from that. And then that reality keeps going. It keeps perpetuating because you haven't changed the identity. You haven't made a decision from a new identity, the identity of your divinity, the identity of your oneness. You're making it from a separate identity that believes they're a victim, right? And again, I'm not talking about blame. I'm not even talking about what's happening in 3D. I'm saying, when are you making a decision? Sure, you want to say no. Sure, you want to walk away and separate yourself from that. But where's it coming from? The difference is separation versus oneness when manifesting the choices or taking actions. Are you making them from separation, from a feeling of lack, from a feeling of being a victim of the world? Or you make them of oneness, taking responsibility for your reality, owning your reality? Where are the decisions coming from, right? From the oneness or higher self, it moves you towards your wish fulfilled and your heart's desire. When you make decisions from knowing that you're one with God, you're one with that love, from that higher love, that moves you to everything you want. But from separation, from an identity, an old identity, right, it keeps you stuck in your old unwanted reality. Do you hear this? Let's hit this a little bit more. The old reality, there's always a reality gap, or there's a perceived illusional reality gap. The reality gap between our old reality and our new reality. The reality gap between what we desire and then our new and our desired our wish fulfilled. The desire for a new reality and the new reality. The desire for a new identity and the new identity, right? That's really what it gets down to. Here you're feeling separation. Here you're connected to your higher self. It's really talking about the difference between your old identity and your new identity, right? And so you're focused on closing the gap by improving your old reality. You're still, by improving the old concept with yourself with processes and affirmations, subliminals, and all this stuff, right? You're focused on getting some improvement, and you do. You can find peace. When you don't react to reality, when you start observing your thoughts, you're going to find some peace, but you're still in that old identity where you think you have to search for it, where you think you have to observe your thoughts, where you think you have to do subliminals and affirmations and beat into your subconscious a new reality. When it's your identity, it's your old concept that needs to change. You believe you got to change out old beliefs for new ones. But again, you're still just tinkering, hear this, you're just tinkering with your old reality. You haven't made a fundamental change in your concept of who you think you are or your identity. And that's why the old reality comes back. Different as Abraham Hicks says, different faces, different places. But it looks a lot like the old reality. Here's the paradox. Your identity or self-concept feels separate, incomplete, not enough. So you focus on trying to achieve wholeness by closing the gap. No matter what you identify as in 3D, it's not going to be enough. Do you hear this? No matter what you take, because when you identify, you automatically come into duality with some sort of separation between you and that oneness. So the only way is to identify with that oneness, that wholeness, as your core identity. Then you got it, right? Remember, but these choices or actions to return to wholeness happen in the reality or the current unwanted reality created by the concept or identity that perpetuates the beliefs that you are not whole. Hear this. So you identify yourself as maybe someone who's always you're very loving and you're always giving and you never get back, or you're always helping people, or it's I think one of you said it's your boyfriend, that you always feel like you give him so much love but you don't get the love back, right? What's the real identity behind this? What's the concept? The concept is that you are love and you're feeling like you have to work for love, you have to earn it. You have to give it to get it. Do you hear this? That's what's going on. So when you try to make changes with affirmations or subliminals or even imagining, and you're still in that old identity, you're going to have some moments, some success of feeling better, feeling at peace. And then if you stop reacting to 3D circumstances, but you're still just dealing with a reality that you think can't change fundamentally. Right? So, but these choices and actions to return to wholeness happen in the reality, in the current unwanted reality created by the concepts of the identity that perpetuates the belief in the first place, that perpetuates that you're not whole. That's why you're chasing your tail there, right? So, your identity, self-concept, can't see itself as source. It's a knowing. So that's why when you're stuck in your identity or in your reality, you're trapped there. You can't see it because you are reality. You are that identity. So you go seek gurus and you seek coaches and you seek YouTube channels and you seek books and affirmations. None of that there's nothing wrong with any of that. It's wonderful to have that knowing. I did the same thing. It's a base of knowing that will be for you forever. But that's not where the real change comes from. That knowing is great, and it's going to make you feel good sometimes, and other times you're going to forget. But the real change comes in the concept and the identity of yourself, right? Improving your identity and reality can get you feeling good, right? And you're going to get by, but you're still in the old reality. Trying to work from the outside in traps you in the paradox of who you think you are. Do you hear this? Working from the outside in traps you in that paradox, that belief, those false beliefs of who you really who you think you are, right? So you're trying to change. That's why when we've talked about before, I always talk about choosing. When he goes, well, what does that really mean? What does choosing mean versus changing? Well, it means everything. When you try to change, you're working from the outside. You're trying to force, coerce, influence, take control, right? You're trying to stay on the positive side of your dual identity, and that's exhausting. Hear this. Every identity is dual. There's a positive and negative. There's an up and down. There's a good and bad. This is duality. And what makes it so exhausting is you're identifying with this identity. And to hold that identification, to hold on to that identity, you want to experience the positive side of that duality. So you're always pushing towards that, and that makes it exhausting because you can't ever get away that there's another side. That's the whole identity. There are always two sides, right? So it's because you're identifying with something that's not natural. That identity is not natural. The natural identity is who you really are. It's identifying with that oneness. Duality will still exist while you're here, but you'll be more inclined to naturally migrate, dwell on the positive side of that identity. Rather here, you've got to force it. It feels hard work. Right? Well, it's effort. When you choose, you transform reality. You don't merely change an existing reality. That's the difference. It's transformation. You go to the center of reality. You go to the center of who you are, or who you really are, and look at who you believing yourself to be. And that's where you make the change. Identifying with your oneness, your wholeness, your higher self. This is big. This is huge. You see this. Clearly it's big and huge. Trying to control your experience of reality, your thoughts, feelings, and reactions, rather than creating the reality you desire to experience. Whoa! Hear this. We're going to step into this today, no worries. You're trying to control your experience of reality, your thoughts, your feelings, your reactions. Right? You're even using subliminals and affirmations, right? You're trying to control your experience of reality rather than creating the reality you desire to experience. That is so big. And there's more. So we go between this thing of desired, undesired, wanted, unwanted, unseen, seen, positive, negative, have not. It's your desire to close the gap, to feel whole, to feel complete. All of that comes from identifying here in the 3D experience, but not identifying with our oneness and our wholeness and our divinity as our core identity. Right? Desired and undesired, it keeps us toggling between that, trying to always push towards the desired, the wanted, the unseen, the positive, the have. Reality is not something to be created outside of you. In fact, it's not something to be created, it is you. It's the identity that you identify with. It's your concept. You are the creator. Your reality is your identity. As the creator, you're perfect, whole, and divine. You're the creator made in God's image. So as the creator, without identifying you as anything else, just that I am, you're perfect. It's all those other layers you put over it. So it's not even about, that's why you just got to let those layers, shed those layers. Shed that extra skin, and that's who you really are. It's the self or identity that you created over that becomes the reality that you feel the need to fix. Do you hear this? You created the reality you need to fix. You are reality. You covered yourself, you cloaked that reality with all this other stuff. Your identity is the center of your reality. You are the reality you live in and experience. You hear this? You are the reality you live in. Your reality is your I am, your identity. That's why it feels so solid and so real to you. Do you get this? But it's your I am, but your I am conditioned in some bogus belief, some bogus concept that's what makes life feel so hard, what makes it feel like you're always seeking the desired. Do you hear this? Let's get this a little bit more here. So what's the real, we talked about quantum leaping yesterday. Well, this fits very well, because what's the real quantum leap that you want to make? Here it is, leaping from an old identity where you see yourself as separate from the world you live in, to you are the world, or you are 3D reality. Hear this, that's the leap, right? Leaping from an identity where you see yourself as separate from the world you live in, to the identity where you are the world, you are 3D reality, and you're whole and you're complete as you experience that, right? It's not even about remembering who you really are. You know, we talk about that a lot. It's about remembering who you really are. It's because all that's done from your old identity. Right? Remembering who you are is saying that you forgot who you really are. And all that's done trying to remember, meaning seeking spiritual enlightenment, seeking guru, seeking your path, is all done from your old identity. When it's all done from your old identity, you're gonna find some peaceful moments. You're gonna find some enlightenment. You're gonna find some relief. But you're not gonna change the fundamental reality until you change the fundamental identity, the core, right? You're going to seek gurus and psychics and subconscious beliefs. You're going to look at all of that stuff. And nothing's wrong with any of that. That's all great as a basis of learning the magnificence of who you are. But relying on that to change an old identity or change an old reality keeps you trapped in the old identity, in the old reality. Moves you further away from who you really are, because who you really are is already there. So it can't help but move you further away when you're looking in the other direction, right? This is all looking in the other direction, right? You can do all this while looking in the direction of who you really are. That's more powerful, right? Seeking success, happiness, peace, enlightenment directly from your old self or your old identity. That's what you're doing. You're trying to seek happiness directly. You're trying to seek enlightenment directly. Success, happy from your old self. When really it's already there. It's about shedding the layers, right? Not adding new ones, right? Instead, it is the letting go of the identity, the thought, who you believe you are. Underneath is your divine nature. The thought of that limited identity that you think you are. And underneath is your divine nature. When you identify with that, everything else falls into place, right? Then that's where your peace is. That's where it's permanent. So, mindfulness, quieting the mind, questioning your thoughts, affirmations, imagining, letting go, not reacting, scripting, all of it is very good. When it comes from a place of identifying with who you really are, that higher concept. But if it's all done in your current script, in your current identity, in that current concept, with the hope to change that reality, change that concept, it traps you in it. Right? You can improve your reality. You can improve your life experience. You can feel more peace doing all these things. You can manifest things in your life, for sure. Right? You can do that, but it's not the fundamental change. And then quickly you manifest something and then something else comes up that rattles your reality. And you've lost all confidence again. And you're wondering what happened. It's because you're still in that same identity. You're still in that same concept. Right? Subliminals, hypnosis, all of it, right? That will change some things, but it won't transform it. It will change your reality. It will change what? It will change your experience of it. But you are the experience. You are the reality. So the fundamental change is not there. You can manifest money and people and love and all that stuff. But then as soon as something comes up that's contra to it, then you're back in that whole again, wondering what happened. That's why finding peace, happiness, success in an existing reality is different, hear this, than finding it from your true nature, where peace, well-being, success are natural attributes or consequences of it. That's why you're looking to go after that stuff directly. When it's already within you, it's a natural part of who you are. There are attributes, well-being, success, enlightenment are all attributes of your true nature. They don't have to be found or sought for, right? Example, so here are some examples. I feel like I do everything possible to earn her love. This is another one of you talked to me about this. That with your, I think it was your wife you were talking about, that I do everything. I'm trying to make her feel good, trying to love her, but I don't get it back. It's not reciprocal. And what's the translation here? What are you really saying? That you're not love, that you have to earn it, that you have to look outside yourself for it. You're identifying with someone that's not love. Do you hear this? And you feel you've created in your reality this way that if you believe you have to earn it, you've created a reality where you have to earn it. Do you see this? So you're going to draw to you people, events, and circumstances that gives you the opportunity to earn that love, to work for that love, because you feel that somehow you're missing it and you're not that love. You've got to get it from the outside. That's what we're talking about. It's that identity. Right? You're identifying with that person I earn things. I work for them and I work for love. Do you see what's going on here? As opposed to I am love. I am divine. I am perfect and whole. And I choose to this person to be with so we can grow together. There's a difference, right? Or the one that said, I do everything. I'm constantly helping others and it feels good. I love that part of my life. Right? But for some reason, it doesn't seem to be helping me in other areas of my life. I don't get what I want, and I feel like I'm neglecting myself. I think one of you said in a session that you haven't taken a vacation for 16 years. But that you do like helping people, and you help other people take vacations. You help them live their life. But you're not getting it back. You're not feeling it. What's going on? It's the concept of yourself, right? To feel like I need permission to live my life. And how do I get permission? By helping others. It makes me feel good. And therefore, then I can finally live my life. But you don't. You continually to help others. Continually put off. And so you attract a reality that shows you that you need permission to live. That you need permission to enjoy yourself. That you need permission to take a vacation. That's what's going on. That's what we're talking about. That is what self-concept and everybody is you pushed out really means to you. I am your host, Tom Karen, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of Higher Consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification button, like and share our videos. That's how we get our message out. You can follow us on Facebook at Be Something Wonderful. We have a group called the Be Something Wonderful Ambassadors on Facebook. Feel free to join. I love it. More and more of you. And you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Tom Karen, or visit our website anytime at tomkaren.com or besomethingwonderful.com. With great love, with great light, and infinite gratitude, see you soon.